Welcome to another episode of Cancer Tamer. I'm your host, Dr. Charley Ferrer.
And I'm Debra Santulli-Barone.
And we're here today to talk to you about getting prepared and always being prepared for what life has in store for you, as well as what's going on in your life. And one of the important pieces that we talk about is survival. So for those of you that live in New York or have heard the news, we actually went through a little bit of a scare in Midtown where the lights went out. And so that got me and Debra to thinking about, how do we prepare for any kind of disasters? And it's not just disaster outside in your home or in your environment, but what about preparing for other issues that come up?
Right, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yes, actually I read in Cure magazine about planning for your future, like 4 essentials that can help you with your survivorship. So how does one do this? Okay, so survival, you do surveillance for your recurrence of new cancers. That means you go to your screenings, you go to your doctors, whether it's twice a year, once a year. You have to be adamant and you have to just really commit to yourself to do these things.
Right.
Because there are a lot of people that will just sit back and say, okay, they took the cancer out, I don't want to think about it anymore, and they never go back. So if you really want to survive, you have to follow these rules, basically what it is. So you have your surveillance, you have your screenings, intervention of cancer treatment. Okay, so let's say physically you're tired. Well, all right, find out, is it the medications? And then maybe the doctor will tell you, okay, maybe you can eat a little bit better. Maybe you can exercise, because believe it or not, exercise can actually make you feel better once you get into the routine of it.
Once you get into the routine.
Yeah, it takes a while.
And there is that little known or little discussed issue that happens where it's cancer fatigue syndrome.
Yes, definitely.
And so you might be going really, really well, and all of a sudden you get really tired.
Right.
So realizing that also happens. So
right. And allow yourself to be tired.
So allowing yourself to be tired, allowing yourself to get the extra rest you need. Also, especially now with the heat wave that we have going on, especially if you're going through chemo or radiation, which you're more sensitive to the sun.
Yeah, be very careful.
I call it, my historical appearance, because I will actually walk around with a nice little umbrella. And so I got these really cool umbrellas, and just, go out in the sun with your umbrella.
And your sunscreen.
Yes,
because remember too that the sun reflects off of sand, off of concrete. So even though if you're walking around with none on and you have a hat or an umbrella, the sun is reflecting, can hit you right in the face anyhow.
Right,
so you
and so preparing for that. And with the umbrella, it actually helps.
Yeah,
it helps with the sun, so you can get something fun. I mean, when we went to Amsterdam, we got a couple of umbrellas from the Godot.
Yes.
Not Godot.
For the
guy with the
painter,
with the sunflowers,
right?
the painter.
Yes, the painter.
Gustav.
No, it is
Van Gogh. I was close with Godot, Van Gogh.
It's a cancer moment, We get these brain fogs every once in a while.
And so being able to do that and preparing, because preparing is so important to everything that we do.
Right.
And there was another one too, wasn't there?
Well, actually, with the intervention of the cancer treatment, besides the physical aspect, there's a psychological aspect. So if you need to talk to someone, there are free services at your hospital, or a lot of the coverage of insurance. Insurance companies will cover that. That's very important. You need someone to talk to sometimes besides your family. And then on top of it, there's also the social effects of the illness. People stop talking to you. They're afraid to come near you.
They're afraid you're contagious.
Yes. Yeah, you're contagious.
They're afraid you're contagious.
Yeah, so join something. I went to church, so there's a congregation there for me. I joined the JCC so that I can meet other people and also do fun things. I learned how to play the ukulele. There's a lot of things out there, so that's something important. Then prevention. Prevention is all about, look, you have the cancer, you have to deal with it, and you have to know you cannot eat the same way you did before cancer.
Now
I want to hear it.
It's, and I call it the pre-cancer me and the post-cancer me.
Right.
And so it is that piece of, what everything tastes like that you ate before.
You know
how awesome it was,
Right.
But wouldn't it be great if now, post-cancer, you start looking at different things that you might want to eat, something that you've never eaten, something from a different culture, something that you invent, something that you modify the recipe or something with, because that's the beauty of it. It's now you have the excuse to eat something better, to eat something differently. And the one thing that I discovered was that eating healthy was actually really good for you. Not just good for you, it tasted so damn good. Because I started inventing juices and I started inventing smoothies, and it's like, well, let me try this. And people were
bars.
I started inventing some of these sesame seed, and it's all seeds and cranberries and stuff like that. And it was something that I remember from when I was a kid. They had the sesame seed bars in Puerto Rico, and it was just sesame seeds, and it was nothing but sugar and sesame
honey
seeds.
and sesame, probably.
And so I did a little version of that, and it made it really, really healthy. So I make like a big jumbo tray, a 20-inch snack, an energy bar, I call it. And it's all
it's very good.
These delicious things. And believe it or not, there's only like 3 tablespoons of honey in it.
Yeah,
that is just to hold it together.
But
it's just so delicious. And so inventing stuff, and I became the mad scientist with the food. So whenever I gave somebody food, they would say, well, what's in it? I'm like, you figure it out.
That's right. That's a fun part.
But it tastes good.
It is, but you can do stuff like that. You can learn about even, let's say, essential oils, which we talked about, which can help you with fatigue, pains, or sleep, because Charley actually made me one, Dr. Charley, for sleep, and it really helped a lot, Or how about the winter is coming?
The winter is coming. I actually didn't get sick at all in the winter time, and everybody around me was getting sick. So the company that we worked with was Passionate Woman, who does the whole line of 100% pure body scrubs, and they did the hero oils, which was where the winter is coming. And it's just like 9 essential oils that mix together in a certain way, and you rub it on the bottom of your feet every morning, will just keep your body healthy. And so I didn't have any colds, anything this past winter, and everybody around me was having the flu and so on and so forth. And when I did start getting run down, I have to admit that when I wasn't using it for a week and I started getting run down because I was doing my crazy 36-hour days, I started using it again, and within 2 days I was back to my normal self. And so that was really cool. And the sleep, all the different products.
I need the sleep one.
It knocks you out with no side effects, no paralysis, no groggy in the morning. And wasn't it? I had a lot of people that were saying that they don't have to. They find that they don't find themselves waking up in the middle of the night to go to the restroom, or they don't toss and turn as much with it. And again, it's all different. It's all essential oils. There's nothing. There's no chemicals in it. There's no preservatives. There's none of that.
And no fake fragrances.
And no fake fragrances.
Synthetic fragrances, the fake ones, are actually hormone disruptors. So this is more natural, which is good. So anyhow, getting back to those essentials.
So that's one of the that's one of the essentials that you should have with you in your survival plan.
Right, and also so there's a plan of coordinating, your recommended care, treatment, and going forward. Okay, this is what I'm taking. I'm going to take it for so many years, let's say, and after that, what am I going to do? And as you're taking the meds, if some of them affect your bones or whatever, then it's up to you to do the exercise, to keep the bones strong, to see a dietitian. A lot of the hospitals that you go to when you've had your treatment will give you free dietitian advice. You meet with someone. So these are all important. What to eat, what not to eat. Same thing with oils. Yes, it's okay to have some oils, olive oil, canola, avocado, but it doesn't mean essential oils. And it doesn't mean though, go gung-ho with a lot of them. You have to remember, and I've talked about this with the plant-based nutrition, was that when you're sauteing a meal and you put a little bit of oil, all you need is a little bit of oil. The rest I use low sodium vegetable broth. And that's fine.
And what I found out was, because I ran out of vegetable broth, and so I started using coconut water, which actually makes it taste just as good.
Really?
but it's that piece of you just need a little bit for it to saute.
Right.
And
Yeah,
it's
you don't
better.
need a lot.
Yeah,
That's
so you don't
true.
have to use a
See?
lot of oil and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
so that's very good. So these are all the things that you should do to try to survive, and you will. That's
Yeah.
how I feel about it.
The
Positive
other-
attitude to
Yeah. The other piece that you talked about too was making sure that part of your survival plan also includes a list of the medications that you're taking, a list of your doctors, a list of any kind of issues that you might have.
Right.
You know, if you have diabetes on top of a cancer disease, or
and allergies
or
to
allergies.
medications.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely allergies. And you think that people will know, they do not know, because I'm allergic to all kinds of adhesives, including surgical glue, and they still put
And
surgical glue
stitches.
on me.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where even though it might be on the list, you need to be your own best advocate. And if you see that they're doing something that is not, you know, that is not to your side, then make sure you speak up. So for instance, I actually, I'm allergic to latex. So my thing is, like, I always ask the doctors, you know, well, are those gloves latex? And I always get the, no, they're not. And one day I didn't ask, you know, because most of the
'cause they know,
hospitals
right?
now don't use latex because there's so many people that are allergic.
Sure.
And so one of the doctors turned around, and I didn't ask him. And so after he's like working on, and it was a dentist, and he went to work on my mouth, and I'm like, hey, those are latex free, aren't they? And he goes, no, you didn't tell me.
Oh, gee.
I'm like, it's in my chart.
Yeah.
But let me tell you again.
Yeah, and that's
because
the whole
you,
thing.
Because you think that they remember, or you think that they saw the chart, or you think that they, you know,
Or
that
someone
they
put it in
see
there.
it,
You don't
and
know.
sometimes they don't.
Right.
So make sure that you say that. And so in your emergency plan, you should have all of your allergies. Some people are allergic to Benadryl.
Right.
You know,
Antibiotics. Certain antibiotics.
So making sure that you have that in your list. And then when you make this list, and here's the funny part, you make the list, you don't just leave it in a book.
Right.
You know, you put it in your car, you put it in on your phone, take a picture of it.
And hand it to family members or
hand it to
friends,
family
you know.
members. Put it on the fridge. You know, like for those of you that have children, you always put all the emergency numbers and stuff on the fridge so the babysitter will know. Well, make sure you treat yourself just as much respect and love that you do your kids, and put your list on the refrigerator, because you never know when it's necessary. And the last thing you want to do in an emergency is go, I can't remember where I put it.
You can't even think straight. And the funny thing is that that your book, actually, Breast Cancer from Diagnosis to Surgery, has a section where you can do this, because it's important to have the doctors, the meds, the dosage, how many times a day you take the medication, even your vitamins is important. Your why you have a doctor, so you write down heart doctor, bone doctor, you write it like that. You write down their phone numbers, the allergies you have, your healthcare proxy, which you brought up, which is really good.
Right.
You know,
having your healthcare proxy, and for those of you that don't know, the healthcare proxy is a person that's going to step in when you're not capable of doing so, of taking care of yourself or speaking up for yourself. So that healthcare proxy has to be 18 or older, because they have to be legal. And that person can say, well, wait a minute, you know, Debra told me that this is what she wants, or that she doesn't want this, or that, you know, she's allergic to these things. And that person should also have a list of all your medications, all your allergies, all your stuff, because that person has to have the information they need to keep you safe when you're not able to do so yourself. And we all go through that. You know, sometimes we have it to where we're just not at our best on this day.
You can't think of everything, you know, especially if you're in the emergency room. It's really scary. And actually, even some foods can interact. Like they talk about, you know, grapefruit, pomegranates, dandelion, believe it or not. So, you know, it depends on your medication, and that will enable you to survive, as we say. you know?
And, you know, it is that piece of, you know, we don't want to just survive, we want to thrive.
Right, definitely.
And we want to make sure that what we do for ourselves and for our families is what we do for the best of ourselves. A lot of times we think of our family first, but as a patient, as a cancer patient, as a mother, as a wife, as a lover, thinking of yourself first is going to make sure that you are able to be there for those that you care about.
Right,
So that's
true.
the really important piece. And we can't stress that enough.
Yeah, that's very important.
You know, not only having your cancer survival plan, but also having your plan, you know, for what you need.
Yeah.
I loved it when I was living in Washington for quite a while. And in Washington, they always stress the fact that, you know, we have earthquakes over there. And we even had a volcano explode.
Really? I didn't know that.
So there was this thing of having your emergency pack.
Right.
And so we actually, in my family, we turned around and we got a backpack, big red backpack. So it was only for emergencies. And we put water in there. We put tuna cans in there. We put anything that would be able to sustain us for at least 3 days.
Rum.
We did have a little bottle in there, Morgan. But it is, you know, and lighters, matches,
that makes sense.
a little portable radio, you know, and it was, you know, backpack that we could just throw, and in case of an emergency, we had it there. So we didn't have to go running for things.
Yeah,
and that's the piece where in an emergency, you don't have time to go run and go, oh, well, where did I leave it? Where did I put it? Where did I, you know, and so having that little backpack ready. And so I bring this up because you can have your emergency backpack ready. Just like, you know, think of it from the perspective of when a woman is pregnant. You have that baby bag ready.
That's right.
You know, and you have all the stuff in there because you know you're going to forget. So having it in there too. You know, the one piece that we tend not to talk about is also being able to have pieces for yourself for you to keep yourself safe sexually. And so, you know, as a cancer patient, you're more susceptible to infections, especially if you're undergoing treatment, because of the fact that your system is compromised at the moment. And so making sure that you protect yourself, making sure that you use condoms, that you use dental dams, that you use whatever it is that you need to keep yourself safe. And if you're allergic, and most people don't really think about this, but if you're allergic to latex, you're allergic to latex condoms.
Right.
So making sure that you buy the polyurethane condoms or finding condoms that are not latex because it'll cause issues. And then you'll have you know, if you have pain during intercourse and it feels itchy afterwards or it feels really scrapey, then that's what's happening. You may be allergic to the latex and you don't even know it. So being, you know, checking with your doctor or experiment for yourself. If you don't want to go and say, doctor, you know, I have a little problem down under, you know, you can experiment for yourself. You know, try having sex with the latex condoms, see how it feels, and then try having, sex with the polyurethane condoms or the other types of condoms that might be out there, and see what it feels like. You know, it's not about the feeling, it's how does it feel internally. And guys, you can be allergic to latex too.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So it's not just a women issue.
So let me ask you though, is it easy to find non-latex condoms in a store?
Yes. Well, let me rephrase that. It is and it isn't.
Okay.
So most of the condoms on the market are latex.
Right.
So you got to look at the box. But you can find the polyurethane condoms. You can find the other kind of condoms. Don't do any kind of lambskin or anything like that. Those were popular a couple of years ago. Those can give you infections. But if you don't see them on the counter, then by all means go to the pharmacist or whoever and ask them for non-latex condoms, and just blame it on your friend. Hey, I'm looking for, you know, my friend needs this, or if you're older like us, you can say, well, I want to, you know, keep my son or my daughter safe.
I'm buying them from my mother.
Exactly.
But so they might know. They might have them?
They might have them in the back. They'll tell you where to look.
Oh, okay.
So it's always that piece of making sure that you go and you ask for what you need.
Right.
Because when we advocate for ourselves and we advocate for our health, it's not just, oh, well, you know, it's just for medication for cancer.
Right.
It's for everything.
Yeah, sure. For
your
life.
And some things are embarrassing, but you know what? It's worse when you have issues.
Right.
It's worse when you have pain. It's worse when you have discomfort. It's worse when you get an infection because you use the wrong thing.
Right, or a throat and neck cancer or any other kind of cancer down under.
So it is that piece of being your own best advocate, and your sexuality is part of who you are, and so making sure that you look at that. Even with dental dams, dental dams will help.
Explain.
So dental dams are basically like about this big. They're really dental dams, what they used to use for your mouth at the dentist's office.
Okay.
But what you do is, like, if you're having oral sex, you can put the dental dam over the vulva.
That's if the person doesn't have a condom, right?
Well, if you're having oral sex with a woman, then you use the dental dam. If you're having oral sex with a man, you can use a condom, a flavored condom, or a condom that does not have any kind of spermicide or anything, because that just tastes horrible. And so, the dental dams are good. Finding other ways, be creative. And if you don't have a dental dam, guess what? Cling wrap works just as well. And it's a little kinky, but hey, it gets the job done.
I got tinfoil.
You can experiment with whatever you want if it makes you happy. But
I love it.
But it is that part of being safe for yourself. So always have the information you need. Always have the products you need in your emergency bag. You should have in your emergency bag.
You carry it. You be in control.
Yeah, the one thing that I always remember in emergency bags that everyone that I knew forgot: toilet paper.
Oh.
You don't even think of it. Get toilet paper. And for women who are still premenopausal, make sure you have Kotex pads in there, or tampons, whichever one you use. And, the Kotex pads are great for in case of an emergency.
Right. You're bleeding
that you're bleeding, or that you had an accident or something.
Or you need a cold pack on your forehead. You can wet it with ice water.
Yes, you can. Exactly. So it's
a lot of them for a pillow,
I don't know about the pillow part, but it is the part of become MacGyver, and you become MacGyver and you use it for what you need.
Swiss Army knife, that would help, right?
Yes, you have things like that in your emergency pack too. So you have two different emergency packs, and do your little notebook or your little backpack for your medicine, and always having your medicine. And if one of the things that I always also remember people forget is their inhalers. You should have inhalers everywhere in your house.
Right.
So you don't want to have to go, oh my God, she's not breathing. Wait a minute, it's in the car. I got to run to the car. Or you're in the car and go, wait a minute, I got to go into the house and I can't remember where she had it. And so always have one in your car, in your backpack, in your by your fridge, on your bedstand, wherever, in the bathroom. So get 3 or 4 and tell your doctor, hey, I need to be safe. And so having those there, and even if you don't have the asthma, if your loved one has the asthma, then always have it in your purse, or have one ready and available. Before we close, because we're getting ready for the end of the show, and it's one of those things we start talking, and it's like there's so much information to impart. For those of you that know and those of you that don't, we are putting on a play called Breast Cancer Diaries, October 5th in Staten Island at the Hampton Inn, and October 22nd at Tadot Theater in Manhattan. We actually have our cast.
It's so exciting.
So we're so excited. We were actually rehearsing last night, and so I want to give a shout out to our cast, and I'll read off their names. It's Terry Key, Janine Elkins, Joan Galati, Laurel Ferrer, and Barbara Scalani. I know I'm saying that right. I'm so sorry, Barbara. And also, so that's our cast. And then Helene is actually our director, Helene Montagna, who is our director. And Debra and I wrote the play. And we are having so much fun talking about it, and and coming up with ways that we want to present it to you. And being, part of the play was for the people that are no longer with us. And for, if you don't know, 40,920 women died last year and 500 men died from complications and from breast cancer. And we want to honor those individuals with the stories that we have about them, the stories that we have about those that are still around, from ourselves, from our cast, and being able to give inspiration and hope. And that's our purpose for this play. And also being able to say, you know, we need to be accountable for ourselves, and we need to be accountable for each other, and we need to get inspiration wherever we can find it.
And this is inspiring. It was fun. And,
yeah, it's so much
it's
fun.
going to be a lot of a little drama, as you say, a lot of comedy, and we're going to have a great night. We're going to have an after party and have a lot of fun in that too.
Yeah, and we have a lot of wonderful sponsors that have helped us out.
Great sponsors.
You know, that are making sure that we can bring this production to you. And so if you want to get more information, visit our website, www.cancertamer.org. Feel free to ask us questions, make comments. Part of the play also has 2 films that we are showing. One is called Faces of Breast Cancer, and the other one is called Messages of Hope. And we're actually in production with both of those right now. And Terry Converse is actually one of the people that is helping us out with it.
Thank you, Terry.
From here, from CTV. So thank you so much for being with us. Make sure you contact us, send us information, and listen to our show. I'm Dr. Charley Ferrer.
I'm Debra Santulli-Barone. Thank you.
Thanks for watching.